certainly coming.
Cricket is one of the oldest games in the world and it continues to thrive today. The game is said to have originated in the 16th century, with international matches being played since 1844. There is really no official documentation as to when cricket started or even where it started. Much of the information that has been pieced together has stated that cricket was a game that was thought up in the Saxon or Norman times by children living in the Weald. This is a thick area of woods and clearings in the southeast area of England. Cricket started out as a child's game, but the adult version of the game was said to have started in the 17th century. Some speculate that cricket is a takeoff of a games called bowls or lawn bowling, with the slight variation that a bat is used to keep the ball from reaching the target, almost similar to baseball. In 1611 was the first time that an adult had mentioned playing the game rather than attending a church mass. Since then, there has been many mention of the game in the English Civil War, and then after the war ended, a new Puritan government had put a stop to more active sports like cricket and football. Cricket began to grow after the Restoration of 1660, and this is when the game first attracted gamblers to the game. In 1664, the Gaming Act was passed and it put a limit on the stakes of a game to £100. By the end of the 17th century, cricket was a game that was betted on daily. In the 17th century, North America was introduced to the game through the English colonies. By the 18th century, it had passed through other parts of the world. Today, cricket is still a major sport that still attracts players, spectators, and even media interest as well. The ICC, or the International Cricket Conference, has over time expanded the development of the game, and it hopes to produce more national teams that are capable of competing at the test level. In June of 2001, the ICC has brought the Test Championship table, and in October 2002, the one-day international championship table was introduced. The newest addition to cricket is the 2020. This is a style of cricket that was first seen in England for professional interior county teams, and it was introduced by the England and Wales Cricket Board. If you have never seen a game of cricket, go see one. It really is very fun and exciting. References to a game actually called cricket appeared around 1550. It is believed that the word cricket is based either on the word crick, meaning a crooked stick, possibly a shepherd's crook. Early forms of cricket used a curved bat, somewhat like a hockey stick, or on the Flemish word kriekstoel, which refers to a stool upon which one kneels in church. The Toronto Cricket Club was established in that city by 1827, and the St. George Cricket Club was formed in 1838 in New York City. Teams from the two clubs faced off in the first international cricket game in 1844, which Toronto won by 23 runs. Cricket evolved in England in the 18th century mainly because of the interest of great landowners who tried their skills on a field of play with their tenants and the local peasantry. Records show that the teams from Kent and London played each other in 1719. In 1787, Thomas Lord, a Yorkshire man, opened a cricket ground in London, and in that year, the Marylebone Cricket Club was formed. Today, the present Lord's at St. John's Wood is the most famous cricket venue in the world, and the MCC is the authoritative source of all cricket legislation.
Cricket, along with baseball, was one of the sports that started the growth of team sports in America. During the 1800s, the popularity of sports began to rise due to new emphasis on competition, rules, favorite teams, interest in performances, stat and record keeping, and the spread of information about sports and players. People were crowding the fields to watch men play cricket and baseball and learn the rules of each. They thrilled both sports fans, journalists, and health-minded individuals who heralded the values of team sports for men and boys. Cricket, however, was the first team sport to be followed by spectators and is considered to be the first major organized American team sport. People started forming cricket clubs and playing matches. The teams mainly consisted of middle and upper-class men. Before the Civil War, cricket clubs were popular in many cities. Philadelphia was one of those, and it became a leading cricket center with wealthy Victorian men. These men played the sport to reinforce their social class and show off their wealth. These elite men would join places like the Philadelphia Cricket Club. Club members in the Victorian era believed that cricket developed moral, social, and vocational values and trained their sons to become better, productive, and successful adults. Cricket was also popular in suburban areas like Germantown. It offered rural, outdoor setting comfortably removed from the chaotic city. Both played important roles in the success of cricket in America in the 19th century. Cricket clubs were the precursors of prominent country clubs built by the turn of the century, when sports like golf and tennis surpassed cricket among the elite. It was very popular among sport-minded British immigrants because it was part of their sporting heritage. Cricket matches sometimes took 2 days to complete. It was played in pristine white uniforms and was interrupted by breaks for tea. It carried distinct symbols of the aristocracy. An all-star team from Philadelphia even went to Halifax to play against the British and Canadian teams and won. Both cricket and baseball were immensely popular in America. In the 1950s, the rise in nationalistic spirit in the United States fueled the sport press covering of both. However, because baseball fit more into the American identity, it appealed to a wider amount of people than cricket. It became an expression of national strength in sport.
Cricket is a sport that has a very limited popularity within the U.S. today. Its biggest and most prized contribution to our country is by far the doors it opened to our national pastime, baseball. What most people don't know is that the sport has actually been played on American soil since colonial days. There are records of cricket being played in America's oldest cities such as Philadelphia, Hartford, New York, and Boston, as early in the 1700s. At its peak in the mid-1800s, cricket was being played in 22 states by up to 1,000 clubs. Philadelphia was particularly stronghold for the sport. The city was home to the most four prominent clubs, three of which, Marion, Germantown, and Philadelphia, exist to this day. Although they have morphed into country clubs, the city still hosts an annual festival promoting the sport. So cricket set the foundation for some of the first country clubs in America, and even some that are still standing to this day. The Civil War changed cricket in America for good. It stunted the growth of cricket and allowed for the growth of baseball. Baseball was seen as a patriotic sport over cricket that was heavily influenced from Europe. America's disinterest in cricket in favor of baseball gave America an identity in the realm of sports, something they could use to differentiate themselves from the British. Most early baseball players were former professional cricketers, including Harry Wright, who made a huge contribution to American baseball, and A.G. Spalding, who founded a sporting goods company that is still a juggernaut to this day. Harry Wright was an English-born American professional baseball player and former professional cricketer. He was also a manager and developer. He assembled, managed, and played center field for baseball's first fully professional team, the 1869 Cincinnati Red Stockings. It was there where he was credited with introducing innovations such as backing up infielders from the outfield and shifting defensive alignments based on hitters' tendencies. For his contributions as a manager and developer of the game, he was inducted into the baseball's Hall of Fame in 1952 by the Veterans Committee. Wright was also the first to make baseball into a business by providing his players 7 times the pay of the average working man. Former cricket player Albert Goodwill Spalding, or A.G. Spalding, was an American pitcher, manager, and executive in the early years of professional baseball and the co-founder of A.G. Spalding Sporting Goods Company. He played Major League Baseball between 1871 and 1878. In 1877, he became the first well-known player to use a fielding glove. Such gloves were among the items sold at his sporting goods store. After his retirement as a player, Spalding remained active with the Chicago White Stockings as president and part owner. In the 1880s, he took players on the first world tour of baseball. Along with business partner William Holbert, Spalding organized the National League of Baseball. He later called for the commission that investigated the origins of baseball and credited Abner Doubleday with creating the game. Spalding also wrote the first official set of baseball rules. In 1874, while Spalding was playing and organizing the league, Spalding and his brother Walter began a sporting goods store in Chicago, which grew rapidly, 14 stores by 1901, and expanded into a manufacturer and distributor of all kinds of sporting equipment. The company became synonymous with sporting goods and is still a going concern.
How to play cricket. If you think that regular classic baseball is getting a little stale, spice up your sports life with a little English-bred cricket. You will need 24 people, a cricket field, a cricket ball, a cricket bat, 2 wickets, 6 stumps, 4 bails, and gloves. Optional, protective gear. Step 1. Gather 22 players and 2 umpires on a 350-foot-long oval-shaped field with a 66-foot-long playing area, or pitch, in the middle, and divide the players into 2 teams. Step 2. Get the cricket ball, a cricket bat, wickets, stumps, and bails. Set the wickets up on either end of the pitch. Wickets comprise 3 vertical stumps and 2 horizontal bails. Step 3. Set up play by sending the fielding team onto the pitch to try to catch the ball and prevent runs from being scored. Choose one player on the fielding team to be the bowler. The bowler will take the ball and stand behind the wicket opposite the batter. Elect a wicket keeper to squat behind the wicket behind the batter. The bowler and wicket keeper should wear protective gear to avoid injury. Step 4. Send 2 players of the batting team to bat, a striker and a non-striker. The bowler runs and pitches the ball to the striker, who attempts to hit the ball. The non-striker will stand behind and wait to run. If the ball is hit, the 2 men run to the opposite end of the pitch. Step 5. Know the ways of getting out. The batter is out if a fielder catches the ball before it bounces, if the bowler hits a stump and knocks off a bail, if a fielder knocks a bail from a stump when the batters are going for a run, if the wicket-keeper knocks a bail from a stump before the batter returns after hitting the ball, or if the ball hits the batter but the umpire thinks the ball would have hit the wicket had the batter not been in the way. Step 6. Score runs by hitting the ball if you're a batter. After a batter hits the ball, both batters run to the opposite end of the pitch. Batters can repeatedly score runs by running back and forth to the wickets until the opposing team gets them out. If a batter hits the ball past the far boundary of the field, their team is automatically awarded 6 runs. If the ball hits the ground before it passes the boundary, the team receives 4 runs. Step 7. Win by scoring the most runs. An inning is complete when everyone on the batting team has batted. After each team plays 1 inning, the team with the most runs is the winner. If that happens to be your team, don't gloat. Cricket is a difficult but exciting sport. Cut the losing team a break.
This is a scene most of you will recognize, the most famous cricket ground in the world. And this is one of the modern heroes you'll see there, England's young and very successful captain. Here we see the Lord's Taverners of 1899 and their ladies. And this was the target of their admiration. From W.G. Grace to Peter May, Boer War to Cold War, Penny Farthing to Sputnik. 6 decades of history of which we shall show just a few highlights. The highlights of yesterday, of the rich period between the wars. Dr. Grace, and also from that golden age, Ranji. Now, after the First World War, the great figure was Jack Hobbs, in the 20s at the height of his fame. An occasional glimpse of Ranji, 47 and rather plump, was a nostalgic reminder of more leisured days. But in this hurried new world, even he didn't stay so long. However, Jack Hobbs wasn't a bad model from which to build a new generation of batsmen. And this sort of thing was rare enough in those days to make this almost a historic picture. There were other great men reaching the peak of their career in 1921. Frank Woolley was one of them. And there was a colourful character destined to bring many happy hours to the citizens of Kennington and elsewhere, Percy George Fender, an all-rounder Surrey will be proud to have even now in these days of plenty.
Well, I think India's still in front. I think because Dhoni's there and he's got a few hitters still to come, I think they're probably just in front. But get Dhoni out, and then I think it's level pegging.
Oh, this is a big over this. Xavier Doherty has been given the 49th over. His last one was a beauty. Went for only 4, and he got the wicket of Reiner, which gave the Aussies a chance in this match. Now, he's going to be bowling to the left-handed Jadeja, who I'm pretty sure has been told to get after him. Have a swing, and as Tony Gregg just said, if he gets out, Ashwin will come in and play the same way.
Well, it's great to see a spinner bowling the second last over. He's got to get it right, though. He has got to get it right. If not, India could do it this over. Just the one. It was a low full toss, and it was pretty quick as well. I'd say Jadeja's missed out on that one.
Wasn't that good fielding too? He got that throw in like a rocket, flattened alongside the stumps. Look at this, on his backside he was, and then in she went. I tell you what, he can throw for a guy with little short stubby arms.
Fast twitch fibres, Greggy. Don't worry about the shortness, it's all about fast twitch. Here we go, around the wicket to Dhoni. Is he going to want to find the boundary? They play tip and run. There's another single. Counting it down. Everyone on edge out there. This is the intensity you play for. The Australians don't want to make an error in the field.
A chance to vote for your man of the match too. Vodafone viewers verdict for you. It's a tough one.
Jadeja now. Through the offside. That's a terrific stroke. Didn't quite time it. Dan Christian, the man running around. Little easier for India.
He bowls that flat pace ball, which he bowls a lot. He's got to get it really full. That was a bit wide and a bit more of a half volley, and it gave Jadeja a chance to get over it. Will he take a chance and toss one up?
Yeah, I don't think so. I agree. They've got to be Yorkers. It doesn't matter if you bowl slow or fast. They've got to be Yorkers at the end. You cannot. They're getting one every ball anyhow. They're running for everything, and then the odd 2 or 4 is going to be the difference.
Oh, he's gone big or not big enough. Take it in the deep. Game alive for Australia, and it was Ricky Ponting. No way that was going to...